Good evening, everyone. We are starting the today's session, which is intended to help you with the next assignment, which is due this weekend, which is the Spark tutorial, which is very important. This is the first step after you have learned about Spark to set up the environment in the Watson Studio. And it has so many details that our experience showed that session like this is very helpful because usually students tend, since there are so many steps, tend to skip a step. And let me put it this way. You absolutely cannot skip any step in the instruction in all the sequence. If you skip a step, it's not going to work. Something is not gonna end up in the expected way. So, and everything has the why it has to be this way. So in order to help you not just to follow the instruction and to do the right thing the way it is described, we have this session today. Very briefly, Elena is going to put first the most important key point you have to follow for this tutorial. Very important to log out of the environment when it's needed, to follow the step. And after that, we will go to what is Q&A. Linish also has some suggestion how to follow the instruction about the tutorial. So with no more, I'm giving the word to Elena to follow the presentation.
All right. So here is the agenda, right? So first of all, some of you have been doing a great job with this, but some of you need improvement. I put a slide in here on how to ask effective questions. So always you want to say what step are you on, and what expected the result, what exactly the problem is, and you want to include the screenshot, because many times I hear people say it's not working, but I am unable to help if it's the only information I have. So you want to make sure to tell clearly what you're trying to say, what you're trying to do, what you're getting, and what the error is. And then we go from there, right? So otherwise it takes longer to assist you if you don't specify what the issue is. So this is a high level step what you need to do. You're gonna log into Ibm Watson Studio, and I just wanted to say that it's an integrated environment, right? Used to develop, train, and manage models using the AI application. So what you did was you created an account for IBM Cloud, which is a set of services, right? But for this assignment, you're gonna be using it's a platform, right? This is what you're gonna be logging into. Then you're going to create a brand new empty project. Project name is required. Project description is optional. Then for most of you, it's going to be the first project. So you will have to add the object storage. Object storage is the location where your data will be stored, right? Then there are a couple options. Sometimes it will be checked in for you, sometimes it's not. There are a couple options, and I'll show you. You need to make sure that they are turned on. Then you're gonna add data, and then you're gonna add notebook, and you're gonna be all set, right? Almost. There's some code that you're gonna need to edit in the notebook. All right. So this is basically a screenshot of how to add data, but I think the best way to do it is just to go in and show you, right? So this is an assignment where it is in Leo, Spark tutorial assignment. What you need to do is you need to download all the files. But it's important, when you download this data file, do not open it. Download it without opening. So you might want to do it something like a right click and then do save target as, right? So that way you just save it straight, and you're not gonna open it on your PC, right? So here it's very important that you put the correct URL, right? It's dataplatform.cloud.ibm.com, and you're gonna be at the login page. But since I'm already logged in, so it kind of like remembers me. But you're gonna hit the login page, and you put the same credentials as your IBM Cloud, right? Those are my recently accessed projects, but when you log in for the first time, you're going to be taken to the home page. Well, it's a home page. It's going to show you the projects that you recently accessed. Or it can take you to the Get Started page. More likely, you're going to see the Get Started page here, right? What you'll do is this. You're going to create a new project, right? So I'm going to go through this. Well, there is more than one way to do this, right? There's more than one way to do it, but you're gonna see it you're gonna see this here. See this new project? I can do it here. And when I create a new project, right now I have to create an empty project. So I have some good news for people who already took this class last semester. Most of the steps have not changed. The environment, the same environment that we used last time is still available, and the interface almost did not change, but we never know. This environment always changes, and there might be a surprise tomorrow, who knows. Anyway, so project name, this is required. If you don't put the project name, this create button will be disabled. So let's say I'm gonna put this demo spring. Well, I won't be able to put Spark tutorial because I already have a project with the same name. Project name must be unique. Description is optional, but well, but you are asked to put it in a assignment, right? So here I just keep it. Now this is not my first project, so the object storage is pre-populated. But when you create your first project, you'll need to create on the new button and follow the instructions to create one. And I'm just gonna click create here to create project. So this is my project, and it's creating an empty project, right? I'll have to wait for a few seconds, and it's gonna take me to the project overview page. So see this? This is a project name, and currently I don't have anything in the project, and the collaborators one because I'm the only one who has access to it, right? This is a cloud object storage, right? But when you create the first project, what you'll need to do is this. You want to go here, and there is an option called the storage delegation. See this, manage storage delegation. And you need to make sure that for your object storage, these couple options are checked. If these couple options are not checked, you won't be able to add new notebook. Just keep that in mind. All right, so now I'm going to return back to the project and see this, it's in here, the recently accessed project. Okay. Now what you're gonna do is this, you're gonna add data. There's multiple ways to do it. I'll probably go to the assets page, and then here, this is a slide out panel, and I can click on the browse, and then I'm gonna go back and working on it, and I'm gonna do date modified. Oops, I have a lot of stuff, so probably this is the wrong folder. I put it in the documents folder, just right before an employee attrition. I'm gonna click on OK. So this is a data file that you downloaded from the course content, right? And I just, okay, so here it is. I just uploaded it. This is a data file that I'm gonna be using as a source, right? As a source of data in a notebook. And just before the session, I downloaded the notebook as it is in the course content. So now I'm ready to add my notebook. This is what I can do here. I'm gonna do add to project, right? And I'm supposed to see an option notebook. If I don't see an option notebook, it means that my object storage delegation has not been turned on. I'm gonna use a notebook here. Now here are a few things that are important. I'm gonna do the from file first, right? And I need to do what I have to do is I need to browse to find the file. I'm gonna do choose file, and once again, I put this file in a documents folder. And right before the session, what I did was I downloaded this and this one. This is a notebook, and I'm gonna click OK. See this is a notebook file, and then here the name is going to be pre-populated with the notebook name, but this is editable. Next step is critical. I need to select the correct environment. Here, very important. You want to pick the last one from the list. Here, this is the last one. You want to do Spark and Python 3.6, okay? So it has to be Python. Do not pick the Spark 2.4 yet because it's a new environment. We have not had the chance to test the code in there yet. So pick this one, the last one from the list, okay? So I've selected this here. This is important to pay attention to. This, on my account, and everybody's account has 50 capacity unit hours per month. That should be plenty if you use environment effectively. So that means that here 1.5 means that if I run my environment for one work clock hour, clock hour is going to consume 1.5 units, right? So if you divide 50 by 1.5, it gives you an estimate of how many clock hours you have. But whenever I'm not working, I have to stop the environment so that it does not consume the hours, right? So this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna create notebook right now. And as soon as my notebook is created, almost immediately the environment will start and the clock will start, right? Gonna go create notebook here. It's gonna add the notebook. There we go, right? But I'm gonna tell you that not doing an assignment, it's not the right way to save hours, okay? Not doing the assignment is not a way to save hours. You need to do the assignment. So see this, you're gonna see that it's instantiating the environment. And again, it says how much it consumes, right? So first I'm showing you how to do it right. And then we're gonna talk about what can go wrong, like selecting wrong environment, etc. Okay, so it's starting up. It might take a little bit of time. Okay, so here, this is the first cell. So by now you probably read that the notebook consists of the bunch of cells. There are different types of cells. So here, this cell, as you notice, it's not executable. It has the table of contents and it has the description of the notebook. And this is a heading, right? So what I'm gonna do right now, take a look at this. If you see it, this is a data set that is available to use, right? You are asked to do this. You're asked to scroll down here, right? And this one here, and this line of code, this is what you're asked to do. You need to expand the slide out panel, right? And while you keep your cursor in this cell, you want to go in here and you want to select Spark Session Data Frame. If you don't see this option, it's probably because you either selected the wrong environment or you did not upload your file before creating the notebook. You must upload the file before you create the notebook. Okay, so you're gonna select this code, and what that will do is it will add the code to create Spark Session Data Frame. What else you are instructed to do is you need to rename this here to _1. And the reason is that's how this is referenced in the rest of the code. If you don't do this, you're gonna get errors later on when you run the remaining code. What else you're asked to do is this. This is an object storage bucket. You're asked to take this, to copy this, and then you need to paste this in here. You're asked to replace the word bucket with this, okay? Control V. Okay, what else you're asked to do is you need to start from the very top, and run this notebook, right? I'll show you how to run the first few cells, but I'm not gonna run everything because this is your assignment, right? So I'm gonna do this. This cell is not executable, so there is nothing, right? Nothing happens. Here, what do I expect to see? It's supposed to show me, it's starting the Spark service and it's going to show me the Spark versions that I'm using. So it has to be 2.33, all right? Now I'm gonna keep going, right? Keep going and keep going. I'm gonna show you this cell. So here, if you see this little asterisk, it means that it's still trying to execute the cell, right? And I expect to see no errors. And what I expect to see, the first 5 rows on the data, right? So here it is. It means that it's working as expected so far. And I'll see the first 5 rows. The rest of it, guys, is going to be up to you, right? You're going to be running it, the rest of the cells. So what you see here is that you see the combination of examples, and you also see the graded exercises where you ask to write the code. But you have to do everything in order. You have to execute all cells in order. So when you executed all these cells up to the graded exercise 1, then you're going to write your code to do the exercise 1, right? So here it is. Run the code to show the summary statistic for the average monthly hours. Up here, you're showing how to do it for one variable, and I ask to do the same thing for another variable, right? So you follow these examples and do this for your for the graded exercises. Then there are also the ungraded exercises that are a little bit harder. So that's the reason why they put as ungraded, because we want you to attempt it, but they're a little bit more challenging. And after you submit the assignment, you'll get the answer key for this. For the ungraded exercises, you're gonna get the answer. But here, basically, the idea is when you have a query where you can do the group data, you can group by more than one column. That's an idea, okay? So here, this is gonna be grouped by 3 columns, I believe. Yes, 3 columns, right? So the graded exercise is where you need to group by 1 column and where you need to group by 2 columns, right? This one is ungraded. So that way you give it a try, right? So, and somebody in session 9040 asked me this question, if you need to submit the whole notebook. The answer is yes. What you need to submit is that after you run this notebook, you need to export this to the HTML, right? You're gonna do this, download this, and you want to download it HTML. And some of you probably, it's better if you can save the HTML file as PDF, that will work also. Because sometimes the visualizations do not get saved in the HTML. Or when you turn in, it gets saved on your computer, but when you turn in, sometimes they kind of like get lost. Another thing that I would recommend you do is after you run the code, you have your output, have the output in front of you when you are doing the quiz, because the quiz has some questions based on the output from running this notebook. So you want to make sure that you have all your output in front of you. That way you don't need to start the Spark service again, right? So suppose that right now I'm done with the assignment, with this part of the assignment, and I'm ready to exit. This is what you're gonna do. You're gonna probably, you want to, okay, so there is no option to stop the kernel, right? You could do this. Oh, here it is. In the file, you want to stop kernel. When I stop the kernel, and when I click shutdown, I'm stopping the service. I'm no longer consuming the hours, right? And what you're asked to do is this at the end, once you stop this, right? Once you stop the environment, you want to go to this page. This one is environmental runtime. And this is very important. Before you log out, always want to go back to this page, and it's going to show you active environmental runtime. If anything is still running, you want to go under actions column, there's going to be an option to stop it, all right? So this is my consumption here so far this month. Before this tutorial, it was 0.8 or 0.7. So what you have, I think it's plenty of hours as long as you budget it wisely. You don't want to keep it running while you're not using the system, right? Or something like if you left for lunch, you want to stop the environment. You're working on something, then you took a break, stop the environment. Like I just showed you what I did, file, and then I did stop kernel, that should do it, right? Another thing that sometimes people do is this. Sometimes people select the wrong environment when they create a notebook, right? So I can show you. I can show you that for the purpose of the demonstration. So I can do this. I can go back to my project, right? So basically, oops, I can go back to the here, right? And let's suppose that I want to create a new notebook, right? But by accident, I select the new environment, wrong environment, right? What you have to do is sometimes after you delete well, you have to delete the notebook, but before you do so, you also want to make sure that you stop the environment. Deleting the notebook does not necessarily stop the environment, right? If I go this, I do from file, right? And I'm gonna browse, I'm gonna choose file again, and once again, I'm gonna select this, right? But this time I'm going to rename it. I'm gonna, this is editable. I'm gonna select this incorrect, right? Incorrect. And I'm gonna intentionally select the incorrect environment. I forgot, right? I forgot that Yelena said to select the right environment. And this is what I'm gonna do this, okay? I'm just gonna do create notebook. You made this mistake, okay? Well, it's not the end of the world, but you'll have to catch yourself as faster as you can, okay? Okay, I'm looking at this, huh? Why does it say capacity unit 1 unit per hour? Shouldn't it supposed to be 1.5? Well, this is incorrect already, right? So now what I'm gonna do is when you try to add the code, for the Spark session data frame, you're not gonna see that option. So that's also an indication. Now take a look at this. Do I see Spark anywhere? Probably not. So I did something wrong, right? I selected the wrong environment. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so see this? It says kernel not found. Something might be wrong because initially, when I created this notebook, it was created for Spark. Okay, I just said kernel. Let's see what's happening. Where is Spark? I don't see Spark. Okay, then suppose that I'm gonna say, okay, let's give it a shot. I'm gonna go in here and I try to follow the instructions, but whoops, what is this? Why don't I see the Spark session data frame? Hint, hint, wrong environment, right? So if you don't see this option, it means you need to go back to the instructions and see what you may have done incorrectly. All right, not a big deal. What you need to do is this. Here, you want to stop the kernel, stop, and you want to do shutdown. Now what you need to do is you need to go back to your project. Yep, you want to leave. You want to go back to your project, and you need to delete the notebook, right? You cannot just easily change kernels like this. So this is incorrect. I intentionally name it like this. I want to go in here. Ooh, nope, I don't want to open it. So I made this in error. I'm gonna go back here again. And what I want to do is actually, I want to delete it. In the options, there should be an option to delete it. Okay, sometimes, see this right now, I won't be able to delete it because I had it open, I did not close it. So what you have to do is, you have to unlock it first. Before you can delete it, you need to unlock it. So I'm gonna click on this lock, and I'm gonna set unlock. This is the first step. And then I'm gonna click here, and I'm gonna select delete. But here's the trick, I'm gonna delete it. But when I delete it, I don't necessarily stop the environment at the sink. Sometimes it does it, sometimes it's not. So to be completely sure, to be totally sure, I'm gonna go back to here. I'm gonna go back to environmental runtime, and I'm going to see this? I deleted the notebook that I started incorrectly, but my environment is still running and it's still consuming hours. See this? I created the notebook in error, right? I chose the incorrect environment in error. I stopped it, right? I deleted the notebook, but my environment is still running and consuming hours. What I have to do is, I need to come back to environmental runtime page, and I have to stop it. And then I click stop, okay? This is very important, and this is what I did. Was before this, I tried to break things. So basically, I tried to see what mistake could people make and what's the impact, right? So I just showed you what could go wrong, and I showed you how to fix it. All right. And every time before you log out, you want to make sure, because see this, my consumption is going up. And another thing I recommend, well, is this. try to finish this assignment this month. The assignment is due on this Sunday. This Sunday is going to be March 1st. But another reason why I would not want to wait until March is because it's a new month. The hours that you don't use this month, they do not get carried over to the next month, right? Whatever you don't use does not get carried over. So you want to take advantage of the February hours. That way you're going to have more hours remaining for March, because those are the hours that we have to use for the assignment too, and also the sentiment analysis tutorial. But there, the environment you're going to use consumes a little bit less than this, hopefully. They keep on changing all the time, all right? Okay, so this is 1.5, but it's not 1.5, it's 1.5 per hour, okay? So you take a calculator and divide 50 by 1.5, it's still plenty of hours, all right? Another thing is that while you're editing the code and not running, you may want to stop the environment. But every time when you modify the code, you want to do this. Let me go back to the notebook here quickly. So here it is. To return to the notebook, this is what you could do. To return to the notebook, you need to click on this pencil, because if I just click on the notebook name, it's going to open my notebook in a view mode. But if you want to be able to edit the code, you need to click on the pencil. That will open notebook in the edit mode, and it will also put a lock on it, right? So it means that by accident, I won't be able to make any changes to it if I do something silly, like open it in two browser tabs, which is, I recommend you not do it. Please do not do it. You might accidentally end up starting two environments instead of one, okay? So when you make changes to the code, right, something significant, you notice it was not doing something right. What you need to do is this. You need to come here, kernel, and you want to do this, restart and clear output. Because you want to start running it from scratch, right? So you want to clear output and restart. This is how you do it. If you edit something here, right? Suppose that I forgot to change this to 2, right? I forgot to change to 2 to 1, right? And then I started running into errors. I need to go back, edit this code here. Then I need to clear all my output and restart the kernel. This is what I have to do. But right now it's still restarting, right? Because I still have not cleared the output, right? I expect this to be cleared. For some unknown reason, it did not. So I have to select this. Restart and clear all output. Restart and clear all output. There we go. I think the reason is it was running. I had to set it that I want to restart. So right now, I'm back to consuming the hours. And see this? How do I know that I cleared the output? It no longer shows, right? So when I make change, I need to stop. Else I'm making change. As I'm making change, I could do this. I can go and I stop kernel, because during the time, if I'm taking half an hour to type stuff, for example, I'm not consuming my hours, right? And then when I'm ready, I'm going to restart the kernel and rerun everything from the top. Same thing, if you do this assignment in more than one sitting, when you restart, it's very important. You need to rerun the notebook from the top if you have to do this assignment in more than one sitting. But more likely, you might be able to do it in one sitting. And you want to save the HTML file. Don't wait to save it later, because you never know, okay? You don't want to spend your hours by running it again just because you forgot to save the file, right? Or you never know. Sometimes once in a while they do a maintenance. If you forgot to save your output and then suddenly there is a maintenance on Sunday when the work is due, you're not impacted, right? So you want to make sure that you always save. Like if I was going to finish this, running this, and if it was in a state that it could be turned in, right, I would just go ahead and save it, right? Another thing is that do not delete the project. You might be able to reuse the same project. when you do your assignment too, you may be able to reuse this project that you create for this assignment. It's up to you. You may create a new project or you may reuse. All right. So let's see if there are questions or if Linish might add anything that is valuable. Well, Linish always has excellent comments, right, Linish? Linish, do you want to add something? Linish? Oh, Linish, are you still there? Linish? All right, he might be on mute. Guys, do you
Yes, I
have
was on
questions?
mute.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, Linish.
Sorry, what's the question? Sorry.
So I was gonna say, do you want to add to what I just said?
No. I think you covered it all. And the only thing to take care of, and probably you covered that in the loading of that CSV file. If you recall, in the past, and in this environment too, I need to be careful when you kind of upload it. Upload it while before you get into the notebook. It would be better to do it then than to do it when you are inside the notebook.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, that's what the instructions say to do it now, because, well, we learned the hard way. It's a change effective last semester. Okay? So, yes. And another thing, yes, is that, look at this. If I go in a project, there is environment in here too. Yes, see this? But when I look at the hours consumption, what I see here, this is the hours that I consume in that project. It's not the total hours that I consume per month, okay? Keep that in mind. It's the total hours, I have to go back in here. I need to go back in here to environmental runtimes. This will show me total consumption overall. It's not 50 hours per project, it's 50 hours as a whole. And take a look at this, it went up to 1. It went up to 1 now, right? So yes. So do we have questions?
Let me comment something. So until they are thinking and digesting about question, I assume many students have not started working, and the question will be delayed. So I want to point out why we are talking about the capacity hour and consumption. Let's see the big picture. Here we are learning not just big data analytics, we are learning how to deal with this technology in the cloud. And cloud is shared environment. This is new paradigm in computing, and why the cloud is more so effective, less expensive, and everyone moving to the cloud. Because here we have resources which are shared among multiple users. When we share resources, we have to keep in mind that sharing resources imply how we use these resources. For instance, let's go to other resources like electricity. When you use electricity in your home, you put your thermostat in certain temperature when you are not home, right? And you save energy. You don't open the door and the window during summertime while your air conditioning is working. And here we are talking about sharing resources like electricity. So here is the same thing. Let's say the following. We have to learn not just Spark, object storage, Python notebook, and how to do certain tasks. We have to learn how to use the resources in the cloud. So I don't want that anybody is with the impression just because we are academia, we have allotted very limited amount of resources. This is totally normal. 50 capacity hour is plenty to do any project in a single month. So that's are the important point I want to keep, that everybody keeps in mind, and not just, oh, we have very limited resources. You have to learn how to use the resources in the cloud. This is the other point. So I'm leaving this open to any question.
Yes, any questions? Well, there were a few questions in 1940, but they were addressed. Any questions? Well, yeah, and someone asked, I believe somebody asked about assignment 2. It will be available once you need to turn in this assignment first, because otherwise, if you get assignment 2 instructions, you're going to be confused at this point, because you're not going to know how to create a project. You're not going to know how to import the notebook, right? You're gonna be saying, oh, what is she talking about, right? Yeah. Huh? Did someone say something? Okay. Well, I mean, yeah, so basically the idea is to make sure that you know how to set up the project before you actually start doing assignment 2, which is bigger. Yeah. Are there any questions? Oh, and another thing is that read the instructions carefully, because I have a question for you guys. Is there anybody here who does not know how to count until 2? Well, you might be asking me why I'm asking, because look at this. It says to submit 2 files, right? So check yourself, how many files are you submitting when you submit this assignment? It should be 2 files. So you have to submit the HTML output, right? And the answer sheet with your quiz questions. So make sure that you follow the instructions. And the same thing for the quiz. If it says to select 2 answers, should you be selecting 3 answers or should you be selecting 1 answer? Or if it does not say to select 2 answers, should you be selecting 1 answer or should you be selecting all of them? Or should you be selecting 2? Just think about it, right? Because people do that sometimes. All right. Just wanted to make sure that, just wanted to point out, follow the instructions. It's important. Okay. So it says to submit 2 files. Make sure that you attach 2 files before you click submit. Right? Lenash, anything else you would like to share from your experience last semester?
No, I'm good. I think you covered it all.
Yeah, because basically, yeah, let's look at the slides again too, because to make sure, because sometimes, so here I just spelled out the steps to add data, right? Oh, here, this is a screenshot of the correct environment. It's at the bottom, right? I put it here, this one at the bottom. So you want to say, it says Python, right? And it's just gonna say Spark, not Spark 3.4, not Spark 2.4, but just Spark. It's still Spark 2.3, this one, right? So here, this is basically what you need to do if you made change to the code. You want to restart the kernel and clear output. This one, I just put something about the, oh, I already did the math for you. Here, see this is here? So 50 capacity unit hours, it's about 33 clock hours. But take a look at this. Your work week is what? 40 hours. This assignment is not gonna take like almost the whole work week, right? So this is like what? 4 business days. Is this how long this assignment is gonna take? Probably not, right? The time to actually run the code, it's not gonna take this long, so it's plenty of hours. Okay. So, and here is an example of where to look at the consumption. That was my consumption at the time when I took the screenshot. Okay. And here are basically some of the useful URLs. That's all. Right. That was all. Elena, do you have anything else to add? Linish? No?
I think if they are not questioned, it makes no sense to continue. When the question comes, there is a place in the classroom where to put the question.
Yes.
Very important, post your question in the classroom. Questions related with the assignment are not to be directed by email. Because for several reasons, you are sharing with the whole classroom and you will get faster the answer if it's in the classroom instead by email, because sometimes a classmate is gonna answer because he had the same issue, he find out the solution. So again, I follow this advice to post all the questions in the classroom.
So yeah, basically I'll show you where to post it. I'm just switching to view as a learner, and in here, right? So I'm viewing. So now, right now, at the moment, I should see exactly what you see, guys. And here it is. If I go to discussion, and for each assignment there is a separate discussion. You want to post it in the right place because people are not going to be looking at the different locations, right? So people are not going to be looking. Just an example. People are not going to be looking at the introduction, right? To find your questions. So it's going to be in here. So this is where you would put the Spark tutorial question and answers, right? And of course, it's going to look slightly different if you're in session 9041. But here, this is the area for Spark tutorial. This is the area for assignment 2. Okay, so I just showed you. And another important thing for you is this. When you click here, there is an option here, notification. And in here, if you wanted to, you could set up to receive an email when new announcement is posted. So here, if you do this, there should be options for you. You can customize the notifications, like when announcement is posted, when assignment is graded, etc. So that way you're not gonna miss anything important, right? And another thing is that they don't show it in Leo tutorials for students. They don't show it, but here it is. See this? This is a search toolbox. Sometimes if you do not remember where something is in a classroom, you can search the content, right? Like for example, if I don't remember where exactly the instructor posted for something for HBase, when I put my search string in here, in the right panel, it's gonna point me to all locations in the classroom that are available to you where it's mentioned. So you can use this search text box to navigate in the classroom. Another thing that they don't explicitly show you is the bookmarks. So if there is a page in the course content that you reference a lot, you can add a bookmark, and the bookmark is available only for you. So like see this, like for just as an example, suppose that there is something in the week 1 and 2 content that in here I like to be references a lot, like this one, right? This is a good resource. If I want to something I want to be referenced, I want to be used a lot, I can do this. Okay, here it is. I can add a bookmark, and then when I go to the content, when I go back to the content page, I can go to my bookmarks, and it's basically it's like a shortcut to the location in the course content where things are. I can just click here. So that's another feature of the Leo classrooms that they don't explicitly show you in the walkthrough. Okay, so that's something you may use. I just wanted to show you while I'm in the classroom right now. Okay, make sense? It's a bonus for attending the session. All right. Anything else? Is there questions, comments? Or maybe there are questions about the Kaggle competition. Maybe there are questions. Linesh, maybe you could point out key points about the Kaggle competition. Linesh, are you still here?
Yes, I'm still here.
Yeah. Point out things like how many models they need to generate, etc.
Well, I haven't seen any question yet, and I don't know if folks have also seen the video, but I would strongly suggest to everyone before you even start to look at the competition page, go over the video. It kind of explains you everything that you need to do. And as far as the model goes, I mean, we'll try to do a session here like this to quickly go over how you can build one very quickly. But even when one single model can do the trick, right? You don't have to really, think about all complex ways of, solving the problem. It could be as simple as just one single model and just put up a solution there. This is how you could get started. So if you haven't taken a look at that, I would strongly encourage you to do so. It's a very simple computational data set, and it will really get your feet wet into going into these competitions and getting more confidence solving more complex problems in future. But I'm ready to kind of help out, or if any questions, definitely we'll kind of as I said, go over one question. I'm sorry, one seminar like this, or webinar, and maybe we will kind of also see if I can do like a quick short video on just putting up a quick solution. Okay, but if any questions, has anybody gone through that video or the competition page? Okay.
Yeah, but yeah. In the future, to get the highest benefits from this session, make sure that you read the material. Yeah. Is everybody still awake? No questions today?
I think still there is need to complete reading and start working. That's why there are not more questions. And they will be in the classroom. It makes no sense to stay online if there are not questions.
That's right.
So if no question, I'm just going to end today's session. Thank you anyway, because I see. Ozan, you want to say something?
I just want to say thank you to Yelena and everyone.
Oh yeah, any tips you may have for this assignment that would help?
No, you covered everything. I just want to say that, read the assumption, read the assignment description very well, and make sure that you cover everything in the rubric. That's all I need.
Okay, I hope this is helpful. We are going to pause the recording later, and have a wonderful evening.